Hey there, it's Jeffrey again, and in this video I want to walk through how I would be using Progressions Classics, whether it's Volume 1, 2, or 3, in my everyday playing. If I were you, first of all, take these books, stick them in your guitar gig bag, and don't lose them, because inside this 3-series volume is going to be most likely a lot of the progressions that you'll encounter in modern music, whether it's pop, worship music, country music, folk music, rock music. These are like some of the most standard progressions you'll see out there, and what this series does, which you probably already know, is shows you how to play those progressions up and down the neck in different ways. So let's say that you're encountering a song where the chorus is 1, 4, 6, 5, a very standard progression, and you're in the key of A. What you want to do is, first of all, grab Volume 1 and flip to the section where it says key of A, 1, 4, 6, 5. And from there, you can see lots of different options, right? On the left, you see all your standard position shapes, and on the right, you have all of Jeffrey's favorite shapes, basically. All the shapes that I think that I would normally play instead of standard shapes. Now, one thing to know about modern guitarists, professional guitarists, and even myself is that I almost never ever use standard shapes. I included them in the book because I think it's important to know the standard shapes so that you can make alternate shapes based off of those standard shapes. So you'll see on the left, you'll see the standard shape, and on the right, you'll see an interpretation of that same standard shape in that same position. So for instance, the 1, 4, 6, 5 progression in the key of A has the chords that you've likely seen your entire life, right? The A shape chord, the D chord, to the F sharp barred chord, which is kind of a boring sounding progression if you don't mix it up, if you don't play alternate shapes, which is why we have on the right the better versions of those chords. Now, on the right, you'll see it moves from A to D sus4 to F sharp minor 7 to, if you don't have it in front of you, flip to that right now, and you'll see we have an A shape that uses, that uses this shape right here, where it's, instead of the full barred first position, we just have a easier shape to play. It's like a very John Mayer shape, right? You see him playing that shape all the time. It's one of my favorite shapes for just like a straight up major triad chord, and I use it in place of position 1 all the time. Now, instead of playing a 4 chord like a straight up D, that sounds boring, or in this case, the next closest would be right there, I'm going to mix it up and play a sus chord. So that's going to be a D sus 4, and in this case what I'm doing is I'm taking the third note, the third that's above the root, that note right there, it's going to be the C sharp, and I'm replacing it with a D note. So this is going to be a D sus 4, so that's going to be D and G basically together. The 1, 4, and 5 of the chord that wants to resolve back to the A chord. So that's why that D sus 4 works so well against a 1 chord. So 1 to 4 sus 4 is a really great way to play your 1, 4 progression. 1, 4, and then we have our minor chord, which in this case is a minor 7th chord, right there, and then we have our 5 chord, which is kind of like, again, it's like a half shape of a barred chord instead of a full-on C shape looking barred chord. shape. So 1, 4, or D sus4, C sharp or F sharp minor. Sorry, that's going to be a F sharp minor 7, and then our 5 chord. Now the really cool thing about this book is you can branch out from there and make like almost limitless versions of this progression, because what I just did was I just matched that first position 1 top line on page 29 against the first position top line on page 30. But what you can do is you can start jumping around and mix and matching different chords into your progression. So let's say I like the sound of position 1 on the top left. I want that barred big sound right here. But then my 4th chord, my D chord, I want something a little bit prettier than this. So I can play the D sus4. So 1 to D sus4 still sounds really good, right? And what I did was I took the 1 chord from the left side of the page and then threw in my 4 chord from the right side of the page. Or let's say, let's get totally crazy. Let's take the 1 chord from the top left on page 29 and throw in a D add 2, which is going to be position 4 on the alternate side. So page 30, scroll down to the 4th line, and we have our D4. Really cool chord. So we have it. Right? And then let's get even crazier. Let's go to our F sharp minor, but all the way up here. And then finish it with a E sus2, which, so I went from the left side, page 29, the top row, down to the right side, position 4, for my D add 2, that was 4th row on the alternate side, and then I finished the progression with the 2nd row on the alternate side with the F sharp minor and the E sus2. So you can take a song and you can say, alright, I know the song is 1, 4, 6, 5, it's A, D, F sharp minor, and E, and now using this book I'm going to just, like almost like a spreadsheet, like if you were an accountant or something, just grab different ones and mix and match them and throw them together until you find a completely new sound. And then that becomes your brand new progression that sounds completely different than anything that anybody else is doing. So that's how I use the book. Again, do this in your practice room, maybe not in front of other people for a while until you really get it down, but you can take a song that you're prepping for the weekend, crack open this book, find the progression that's in your song inside the book, and then start playing around with different positions and find a cool new way to play that progression. So not only are there 10 different ways to play the progression written out, but there's almost limitless ways of playing the progression if you do that mix and match method that I just explained that you can do. Making this a really, really powerful series. I know I don't have to sell you on it, you already have it in front of you, but that's how I would be using it if I were you. All that being said, I'll see you in the next video for more helpful tips on this guitar book series.